Hello and welcome to another video. Today we are walking through a calculator to demonstrate the economics of a Roth or post-tax investment vehicle versus a traditional or pre-tax investment vehicle. So by the end of this video, you should be able to first understand the underlying mechanics of each investment vehicle and two, determine the best approach for your specific situation. As always, you can download this model directly from the link in the video description. All right, let's jump in. To start, we have a few inputs to consider. Let's start with your current age and your age in retirement. These are important for essentially determining the time horizon for your investments. In this case, we have a 40-year time horizon from age 25 to 65. But of course, these are inputs and can be adjusted as needed. Secondly, we're going to be looking at some tax rates. First, what is your current tax rate? And then secondly, what is your expected tax rate in retirement? And for both of these, we need to consider the marginal tax rate you pay. All that means is what is the tax rate on the next dollar that you earn? As you know, in the US, we have a progressive tax system, which means that as your income grows, you pay a higher tax rate as your income bracket increases. And so when we say marginal tax rate, we just mean what is the highest tax bracket you're in. So to start, we're going to assume 22% for both, and then we'll play with those inputs a little bit later on. Next, we're going to look at how much you're going to contribute to either the pre-tax investment vehicle or the post-tax investment vehicle. So these are annual contributions. The pre-tax amount to start, we're going to assume $7,000 a year. And then for the post-tax investment, all we're doing is taking the taxes out of that $7,000. So the $7,000 times 1 minus the tax rate gets us the post-tax investment amount. And then lastly, we have a growth rate, which is just the rate of return for your investments on an annual rate. All right, let's take a look at the Roth outputs. To start, let's look at the taxes paid. Roth is unique in that you will pay your taxes and then invest the money. And so how much was that? In this example, we are going to take the retirement age minus your current age. So in this case, 40 years times the amount we invested each year of $7,000. And then we're going to take the tax rate out of it, the 22%. So in this example, we would have paid $61,600 in taxes over that 40-year period. And so the value after this 40-year time horizon is this $2.6 million. How do we calculate that? We're going to use a future value calculation in Excel using our 10% rate of return. Secondly, the number of payments is the age of my retirement minus my current age. So in this case, 40 years. Secondly, the payment is this $5,460. The taxes have already been paid. So the net investment will be this $5,460 every year. Present value is 0. We're going to assume we're not starting with anything. And then this last cell is the type. We're using a 1. That just means we're going to start the investment at the start of the year. All that means is we're going to make the investment at the start of age 25 versus at the end of age 25. And with that, we will have an expected value at retirement at almost $2.7 million. And then again, what's unique about Roth is we already paid the taxes on that. And so your taxes during retirement are 0. You've already paid the taxes. It grew after tax, and so there's no more taxes to be paid. Now let's look at the traditional. In this case, we don't pay any taxes. So the $61,000 we paid up top is 0. There's no taxes paid before you make your investment. And so because of that, your investment is allowed to grow tax-free. And so the value at retirement in this case is $3.4 million. Our portfolio grew a lot more than in the Roth because no taxes were paid. But we have to pay taxes when we withdraw the money. And so, what does that look like? Well, this $3.4 million, we are going to pay the tax rate, our expected tax rate in retirement of this 22%. And so, at the end of the day, we have to pay almost $750,000 in taxes in retirement. And so, you can see in this example, both situations give us the same exact amount. The reason for that is because our tax rates were assumed to be the same. Now let's look at what happens if we adjust some of those tax rates. Let's assume to start that our current tax rate is actually 20%. In this case, it's better to invest in the Roth because the taxes we pay today are at a lower rate than our taxes will be in retirement. So this 2% gap between the 20% and the 22%. So in this case, Roth is better. Now let's try a tax rate that's higher than our retirement tax rate. Let's try 24%. In this case, the traditional will be better because even though I pay taxes when I withdraw in retirement, the tax rate I'm paying is lower than the tax rate I would have paid when I was investing. And so the traditional is better in that case. So you can adjust these inputs to whatever situation makes sense for you. So a few considerations are maybe your tax rate is low today and you expect it to be higher in retirement. For example, maybe you're working part-time or you're a student or you're early in your career and your tax rate is lower because you're just earning less. Maybe it's better for you to consider the Roth option because you'd rather pay those taxes now in a lower tax bracket than when you're making more later in your career or during retirement. On the flip side, if you are at your peak earnings throughout your career and this is the most money you're ever going to make, you're probably paying more in taxes now than you will in retirement. And in that case, it's better to choose the pre-tax investment. Don't pay taxes now, pay taxes when you retire, and will probably be paying a lower tax rate. The other consideration is maybe you think taxes are going to increase in the future. And so, even though maybe your tax rate is high, you think by the time you retire, tax rates are going to be even higher. That's another reason you might elect a Roth versus a traditional. Whatever your specific circumstances are, you can use this calculator to make the best decision for you. So, with that, thank you. Please like and subscribe. And as always, the link to this model is in the description.